After 5 years, it's finally standing again. The American Hotel, once reduced to ashes, is now sealed, waterproof, and alive with possibilities.
It looks just like the old one. It looks beautiful.
There were long days, longer nights, and more setbacks than I could ever imagine. Some thought it was gone for good, that this old mining town would be forgotten forever. But thanks to a lot of help and a little stubbornness, we brought it back. And to really understand why this moment matters, you have to see how far we've come.
I can't believe it's actually here.
Welcome to the American Hotel. This was a hotel originally built in 1871. This is a spot where miners would come, eat, drink, be merry after work, 12 hours under the ground. It's also the home of the infamous card room. And this card room is one where I imagine a lot of disagreements happened, including the infamous disagreement that led to this bullet hole in the wall and a blood stain on the floor. This was the original American Hotel, built in 1871 by John Simpson and his wife. It welcomed visitors to the mining town of Cerro Gordo, once the largest silver mine in California. Legends like Butch Cassidy, Wyatt Earp, and Mark Twain were rumored to have stayed here. It was the center of town, literally and metaphorically, a place used for meals, meetings, and more. It was known as the finest hotel in Eastern California. And after the mining stopped in the 1940s, it sat, a testament to time, until one day, in June of 2020, it burned to the ground, as many other buildings in town have over the years.
This used to be the Crapo house here. This was the little store with the antique sign out front. That was the ore cart. This was the hotel.
And I remember right after the fire happened, kind of the turning point for me was I was standing just above the hotel site and the old owner came up to me. I remember he said, "Listen, sometimes these things are inevitable, but what happens from here is up to you." That made this whole thing about more than just standing up a building. It was a test, a test to see what I was made of and how much I really wanted this dream. Planning a rebuild is one thing. Actually doing it on top of a mountain up an 8-mile dirt road, that's another. We were required to get permits by the county in order to rebuild or start clearing the site and operate the hotel. But I am very happy to admit that we currently have permits in hand, and it was a unanimous approval by the county, which, thank you, county. That means a lot to us.
All right, world premiere. Stamped, issued, approved.
It's gonna look pretty similar as it did before. Lobby, poker room. Remember, that's where the bullet hole was in the wall around here. So I guess I just have to shoot somebody in the corner of the hotel room over there. Any volunteers, comment below. It started with cleanup. I learned how to use a loader, brushed aside ashes of my former dream. And around then, people came to help. They showed up in a way that I've never experienced before. It recharged me, made me believe that every day this wild dream was actually possible. If you see here, the hotel site is officially staked off. This line will show the dimensions of the hotel. The county's coming up tomorrow at 10 a.m. to discuss putting in a basement. They're okay with it, but if it takes us another couple weeks, that's totally fine. My intention, my plan, my hope is that this building stands for hundreds of years. So it's not like you can go back afterwards and do these things. And so while I am trying to hit that goal, I'm also trying to do things right. Before too long, we had our first really big hurdle to get over, and that was concrete. Concrete is very heavy, and to get 90 yards of concrete, which is quite a bit of concrete, up a 7-mile dirt road is very difficult. And so there isn't very many concrete companies in the area, and the ones that are in the area have decided that they don't really want to bring their concrete trucks up the road. So I started scrambling, and I'll go through the options that I went through. So apparently helicopters can fly up concrete wet, or they can bring up the supplies to create concrete, and you can mix concrete on site and pour it. That sounded cool. And then I got the quote. $167,000 and change. I'll work till my hands bleed, but there's certain things I just can't do myself. And one of those is pour and create a basement or get concrete up here. If you are willing to get 90 yards of concrete up here, send me a note. If you can do that, you could have the first beer at the American Hotel. For months, I just banged my head against the wall, feeling like this was impossible. And that is when I met Dave Sparks and his crew. Well, I think we got Mr. Dave Sparks coming to town.
Building a hotel here at 8,500 feet is quite the challenge, especially since you guys saw the road that we came up on. So that's why we're here. And we're gonna figure out a combination of trucks and equipment to get in here. And I told him we would do it before June 15th. June 15th? That's the promise I made. Oh man. And then he actually pulled out his GoPro and made me say it again.
The deadline that I've set is before June 15th. We want to have the concrete here.
He verified it? Yeah. Oh man. He's been waiting a long time for this.
And a number of weeks later, Dave arrived with just an enormous amount of machinery. You know, we're talking excavators, we're talking loaders, we're talking a front-loaded cement truck that if you were to look at it, there's no way that you think it should make it up this road. This is the man of the hour, Mr. Dave Sparks.
Made it.
You guys are changing Cerro Gordo's history.
That's our plan. We're happy to be a small part of it.
You know, we came together with a plan that we were gonna mix and pour all the concrete on site. That meant getting these super sacks of cement, which are 3,000 pounds each. They hold 1 yard. They're these yellow bags that weigh 3,000 pounds. We needed 80 of those to get up here. And if I think about my favorite days up at Cerro Gordo, the day that we poured the footings is probably, if not the top day, the top 3 for sure.
Well, Brent, when we came, we saw, we concreted.
did it!
Concreted! Come on!
There's not a gift I could give you that would be appropriate, but
Right.
I figured I'd give you guys keys to the city. The next step after that was block. And so about 4,000 of these, or about 60 pallets of block, needed to come up next. They would be delivered in unwrapped pallets, at which point they needed to be forklifted off of their truck. We loaded and unloaded these one by one all the way up here. We would form these chains of 8 to 10 people and just be singing and cheering and laughing as we're unloading 4,000 cinder blocks. And unfortunately, right around that time, we ran into some other hiccups as well. We ran into the winter, and the enemy of concrete is cold weather. So the project got put on pause. But now we are rocking and rolling. We have multiple cement trucks coming, we have a cement pump coming, and we have a bunch of volunteers here to help out with all of that. It's gonna be a good day. All right, so as you can see, day as we go, we got the concrete truck up here. We have the pump over here because we're gonna have to use a pump to get it into all the different corners. We got some final tie-ins that we're doing. I'm excited, you know, it's kind of finally start looking like the full basement, which is pretty sweet. Then it came time for the fire sprinklers, a modern necessity, but something that presented a big challenge living up here in the middle of nowhere with no running water. And that meant getting a tank, a very large 40,000 gallon tank, all the way up our road to right here. Here in California, you need a system that's able to run for 60 minutes straight without stopping. That comes out to about 38,000 gallons of water that we need here at all times. And that leads to the question of how are we gonna get these massive tanks up here? And that leads me again to somebody that you all may know. It sounds like a logistical nightmare, and my mind immediately jumps to Dave Sparks.
Yeah, dude, I mean, based off of that, that's definitely right up our alley, and I'd say we're in 100%.
Turns out that a 40,000 gallon tank is very hard to come by. So after a lot of searching around, a lot of logistics, I finally came upon one in Fresno, California. This thing, again, is 47 feet long and 12 feet around. You know, it's so big that even to move it from Fresno, you need special permits to bring it on the road. And even if you can bring it on the road and get it to the bottom of a mountain, you still have a 7-mile dirt road that increases 1 mile in elevation on the way up. Basically, the plan was to take the loader bucket, hook it to one end, take the excavator arm, hook it to the other end, lift the thing up, you know, kind of like 2 dual cranes at the same time, get the flatbed that it came on out of the way, back the military truck back up to where it was, and then just slowly lower it down onto it. The ease of which it was handling the road gave Diesel Dave and I an idea. And so Dave and I scrambled up to the top of the tank, and we kind of ended up surfing for the last half of the ride.
Usually big jobs like this, you have some disaster after another. This time, everything's gone just oddly smooth. So I'm kind of waiting for something to drop.
We got it down in the hole perfectly. You know, we re-leveled everything to make sure it was sitting right. And it's done, you know, and now it sits there.
I'll tell you what, man, the weather's been amazing. It's great.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for something to drop still, because everything's like,
something will break on the way down the canyon.
So smooth. I can't believe how smooth everything's going.
Harrowing tales from Death Valley National Park in California.
More than 6 months worth of rain falling in just hours.
Stranding about 1,000 visitors and workers. Roughly 60 vehicles apparently were buried in mud and debris.
Well, what difference a day can make. There's no way to get any vehicle on or off the mountain. So that means no pouring the final lift of the basement. We can't get any of our machinery up here. We can't get the type of trucks we need for concrete. I talked to the county, and they said it's gonna be 10 weeks before they can fix the road. And 10 weeks put this into winter, basically. And it was devastating. It felt like we had finally had a little bit of momentum, and that momentum was literally washed away. But instead of just accepting it, you know, sitting there and licking our wounds, we tried to push forward, like we've done time and time again. You know, I jumped in an excavator, we rallied the troops, and we were able to rebuild the road over the course of a week. Just for over a week later, another 1,000-year flood hit us and wipe out the road again. No trucks coming up here. This is it. Hotel is done for the year. So it reminded me so much of the Truman Show, you know, where he's standing under this small stream of rain and he runs over here to get away from it, and the small stream comes just over him. You know, we all just want to see this hotel exist so much, and it just feels like we're willing it into existence. And every time we get so close, it just gets knocked back down. You know, I was just ready to call it for the year and pick it up again next year. But next year means May. And so I started talking to some local contractors, and this plan kind of started to develop. Whispers of it's possible kind of came together, and just a dream team of local contractors came together, and we formed a plan to pour the rest of the wall. The day began unloading 14 pallets of these cement bags. Each one of them weighs just over 3,000 pounds. This time, we're taking a little bit different approach. This time, the community that cares so much about this town has all rallied behind it, and we're gonna make it happen. We have probably a half dozen trucks coming. We have probably a dozen to 20 people coming up here to help. You know, they're gonna probably be the hardest days I've ever had up here at Cerro Gordo in 2+ years. But on the other end of those days means the end of the concrete phase of the hotel. At the end of the day, sometimes you just really want to see something exist in the world. And if you have that belief, that unwavering passion that you're going to see this thing exist, no matter what the cost, no matter how difficult it's going to be, then you just do it. All right, today is something that we have been looking forward to for a very, very long time. That is the next step of the hotel process. All right, there it is, the American Hotel.
What do you think so far?
I think it's awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it nice to see wood?
Finally, you know, 'cause for the longest time we've been dealing with concrete.
2 years of ugly gray concrete
yeah.
block.
Now it actually looks like a building.
So all of these are nails that I collected with a magnet from the original American Hotel. So you can tell they're all square nails. My hope is to take as many of these as I can, put it down there in the new American Hotel.
Right on.
Starting the rebuild was one thing, but sticking with it through year 3, year 4, year 5, that was something else. I originally thought it might take a year and I can put the rest of my life on pause. But at some point, the rebuild became my life. I watched from the hill as friends got married, had kids, bought houses, while I was here, chasing down permits, contractors, and suppliers. My role shifted from taking part in the rebuild to managing personalities. I felt overwhelmed, and sometimes I wondered what all I was missing out on. But every time I left, every time I visited anywhere else, I wanted to come back. I needed to come back because this place means something to me. It means more than anywhere else. And it's rare to find something that calls to you, that keeps calling louder the longer you stay. And in the end, I think if I was anywhere else, that's when I'd really be missing out. Today, the walls start going up. And that is very, very exciting because that'll look like a building.
We're just gonna attempt to send these steel beams up there and hope for the best. Just play it by ear. We got 2 up here, 3 more down in Keeler.
During this whole process, I haven't been focused on just the outside of the hotel. I've occasionally let my mind wander to what the inside will be like. And I've been able to get some pretty amazing things for that, including this Brunswick bar from the 1800s that I was able to go down to Texas to one of my friend's buildings, pack up in a giant box truck, and drive all the way back here to Cerro Gordo, where it waits for the day that the outside is done and this can move inside. I've also been able to get a few pianos from the 1800s brought up here just in waiting. I think that's going to be the most exciting part when it comes time to put some of these statement pieces inside and truly just bring the hotel to life. The American Hotel has a second floor and has the beginning of a roof. You know, right now we're on a huge race because we need to get this building enclosed before winter, and winter can hit pretty much any day now, and we cannot have this exposed to the elements. So we need to get those rafters on, and we need to get a roof on this thing so we can continue working through the winter. It's been a long time coming, it's slow going. I'm very excited, and it's starting to look like a building, feel like a building. So fingers crossed, send us our best wishes that the thing gets enclosed here before the real snow hits. Snow has begun, and there is just raw sheeting on the roof right now, which is no good. We're going to put something called a storm shield. So this is stuff that's made originally for hurricanes and protecting the things from that. So we're going to go check in with Lorenzo, who's doing this, and we're going to see what's going on.
Well, today we're going to continue with the installation. We'll install the flat parts, which is the easiest ones to do. And then we're going to give it a shot with the torch and make it all nice and tight. So we'll take care of it.
Sweet, love it. All right, let's talk power. So I need to go from here, trench all the way over to the back of the hotel there. So we're gonna go underground. You just come down here, trench down there, all the way over there. That's what we're about to do. All right, and just like that, we have our trench. There's gonna be a pad mount transformer box here that's then gonna power the entire hotel. We're gonna be rocking and rolling. Weather's great. Time to make some serious progress on the hotel. Tomorrow, the roof finally goes on. But right over here, past the 5-ton, you can see all of the roofing material that will be going on to the hotel tomorrow.
So today we're starting the roof on the American Hotel. Installation of the 2.0 insulation, then the plywood. Hopefully after that we'll get some underlayment going, protect us from the rain. And then hopefully by Monday or so we'll have all this with a nice metal roof on it. So.
All right, as you can see, the metal is almost done. After this, they're gonna do some flashing, some connective stuff, and the roof will be sealed. It is gonna be insulated, sealed, and weather tight for this winter.
All right, so it's Tuesday, and we finished the roof. We're all happy to be here, you know. It was a little creepy to stay in the bun house, but it was fun.
The roof changed everything. The roof meant that it was secure, that it was dried in, that we could have longer working hours, and it was so exciting. But even with the roof on, we still had a lot that had to go into the exterior. And we have Kyle back. Kyle, what are we doing these days?
We are back up on the mountain. We're going to install some windows, finally, after, you know, what, 6-7 months of waiting. Yeah, we're ready to go in with them.
All right, at long last, these are our windows, and these will be going in the American Hotel. Finally. We're in an area called the Wildland Urban Interface Area, which means we have a very high bar of fireproofing. So that means a lot of layers on the outside of this hotel. First, we had to do weatherproofing. Then we did exterior insulation. Then we did a layer of fireproofing. Then another layer of weatherproofing. And then it was finally time to put on the siding.
All right, so we just finished covering this front-facing side of the American Hotel with the Tyvek. We've also installed all the rain screen slats. So right now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a control line, which is gonna be our first run of Kebony shiplap. So I want the Kebony shiplap to have a whole piece just above the decking boards. So we will follow that control line all the way across the corner, and then we're gonna do one beautiful Kebony wall right there.
Woohoo!
You have something pretty to look at.
All right.
Yeah.
And for the siding, I went with this brand called Kebony. And the wood you're looking at has no stain on it. It's just pressed in order to bring out some of the color earlier. And I went with a grade called Character, which has a little bit of imperfections. And over time, this wood is just gonna look more and more like it blends in. It's gonna weather, it's gonna age. You know, after years, late nights, early mornings, headaches, struggles, stress, the works, the American Hotel is officially dried in. You know, there's still some work to do. There's gonna be a deck off that second floor. There's gonna be a deck off this first floor, but it's coming together. And if anything, it's just gonna look better and better over the coming months as this continues to age. And so for the first time in 5 years, I can walk into this hotel and have it feel like a hotel. And none of that would have been possible without you guys. So I just wanna say thank you so much. And a couple more things before we check out of here. So excited to be sitting in here. Obviously, we're not done yet. There's still plumbing, electrical, the finish out, all these things. And if you're out there and you're a plumber, electrician, a finish out person, I would love to hear from you. My email is just brent@cerrogoromines.com. I'm really hoping to keep this momentum alive, you know, get this thing where people will actually be congregating here and enjoying it. And the other night, I saw something that really drove home what has happened. I was walking through town and the guys putting on the siding were working late, and there was light spilling out of the second floor window. And it immediately brought me back to the last time I had seen that, which was over 5 years ago in the old American Hotel. And it just gave me a slight glimpse towards what I've always wanted. And it just felt for the first time in a very long time like it was right there. I could see it, I could almost touch it, I could almost hear the people in here having a good time. And so I am very, very excited for that future and for many of you to come up here and enjoy this. And until then, I hope you guys have a great week. I'll keep you up to date with our progress up here. And again, just thank you guys so much for the support over all of these years.
Worst case scenario, I lose every dime that I have. Property's taken from me and I have to move back in with my parents in my mid-30s. It's still a story, you know, it's still something that once upon a time, me and a bunch of friends tried to restore a ghost town, and that's something that I never thought I'd do with my life, and at this point I can't see my life being any different. At the end of the day, there's nothing else I'd rather be. You know, at the end of my life, I'd rather say that I tried and failed than never tried at all.